everyone, welcome to Build. We're live from London with the star of the fabulous new film, Their Finest. Please give it up for Gemma Arterton. Before we get started, anyone watching this live online, you can tweet your questions to Gemma using @BuildSeriesLDN, and we'll try and get to as many of them at the end of the show. Gemma, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
On the eve of the release of Their Finest, can you tell us a bit about the new film?
So it's a film set during the Blitz in London, and it's about a group of filmmakers who are brought together to make a propaganda film, to boost morale on the home front, especially for women. And I play a screenwriter called Catherine Cole, who is sort of brought in thinking that she's getting a secretarial job, and actually is brought in to write the slop for which is the women's dialogue in the film. So she becomes a screenwriter, and it's all about the making of this film within the film. And Sam Claflin plays my writing partner, and Bill Nighy plays one of the actors in the film.
And what appealed to you particularly about Catherine when you read the script?
I liked that she's a really adorable character. She's very gentle, she's quite quiet and quite observant, which is what makes her such a good writer. She's usually, with these female-centric films, the woman is a really strong, kind of opinionated. She's not that. She's quiet, and she sort of, she's a bit of a wallflower that kind of develops into, blossoms later on, and she learns, her character kind of develops and becomes more resilient and strong as there's a series of events that happen to her within the film that kind of are both tragic and lots of things happen to her which form her character. So I liked that she wasn't necessarily this kind of front-footed fighter, which is what I usually play.
Sure. And what was it that appealed to you particularly about her? Did you see many sort of similarities between you and her when you read the script? We are quite different. I'm definitely a little bit more of a reactor, whereas she's somebody that takes things in and processes them. I think that's a real quality. We don't usually see films about writers, or screenwriters particularly, who have to kind of observe people and natural dialogue. And, one of the earliest scenes is her sitting on a bus and overhearing a conversation. That's what she does. And I think whereas I'm sort of more the person having the conversation, she would be the person listening. And when you get a script, how instant is it when you get the feeling that you want to be involved in a project, particularly this project?
It really does depend on the script. Sometimes it's about the crew as well. This one was sort of, it was with Lona Scherfig, who I had been wanting to work with since I left drama school. So that, anyway, was a draw. And also the producers, Stephen Woolley and Amanda Posey, who are both fantastic producers. I wanted to work with them. I'd worked with Stephen Woolley before, and that's how I got the script. But yeah, then I read the script, and it was, at first, actually, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, because it's very, very densely written. There's a lot going on. It's a film within a film, but then there's also my character's journey and Bill Nighy's character's journey, and there's a lot going on. So I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but it wasn't until I really spoke to Lona, and she kind of spoke me through it, that I got it. And actually, it's the combination of Lona Scherfig's direction and Gabby Shep's writing. It's very, very... There's so much going on in terms of tone, but it's really well balanced. I think those two together made a really special film. It's really unique. And I think actually in the hands of somebody else, it might have not worked. I think Lona really was the perfect director for it.
Absolutely. It has quite a feminist flavour as well, doesn't it? Was that part of the appeal to you?
Yeah, but it didn't sort of jump out at me, actually. It's not, it's feminist
but it's not sort of, that's not the kind of main thrust of it. Obviously, it's about a screenwriter and it's about women, and it was an amazing time for women during the 1940s, during the war, because they were suddenly given jobs, men's jobs, and being, you know, they were needed. And that's exactly what happens in this film. And there are a few things, there are a few very subtle lines in the film, like, one of the first scenes is Katrin talking, she's being offered a job and they say, obviously, we can't pay you as much as the men. And she says, oh, of course, you know, as if it's set in the 40s. We hadn't had that kind of feminism movement yet. So people just accepted those kind of, those differences. But yeah, it's in there, but it's not sort of a film about that.
Absolutely. Talk us through the Welsh accent.
Oh, yeah.
How long did it take to master?
I was freaking out about it. And whenever you do a regional accent or any accent in a film, it's one of the first things that people notice. And I work with a really great dialect coach called William Conacher, and he worked with me on the accent for a good... I remember doing a read-through with Lona and Sam Claflin in March, and they just went, do the Welsh accent, and I thought, I haven't prepared, and so I just thought of Cerys Matthews on Radio 6, speaking through her
You can't get much more Welsh than that, can you?
No, and she's very soft, and anyway, and so I did that, and then I started working with William, and there are so many variations of the Welsh accent, and my character's from the Ebba Vale in the south of Wales, and so I ended up doing a very gentle South Walian accent. But I was worried because I was the only person doing an accent as well. Everyone else was doing sort of their own accents. So, but it was fine in the end.
Did you carry on with the accent in between takes?
Oh, God, no, I can't bear it. I know it's probably really helpful to do that as an actor because then you don't have to switch gears, but I just couldn't do it. And Sam Claflin wouldn't have let me. He would have laughed me off the set.
Speaking of Sam, you have like great chemistry, you two, on screen. Is that something that comes very naturally?
Yeah, I met Sam at a party prior to the film, and I could just tell, you know, we just got on, and then we'd been paired a couple of times in things, and then they hadn't worked out, you know, and then it just, you know, it's just a natural friendship, and we are friends now, and it was just so easy to work with him. He's such a great actor. He's so brilliant in the film, and it just was very playful, and I just felt very relaxed with him, that we could just do whatever, you know. Yeah.
How are the other? So there's some quite big male stars in the film, isn't there? Like Bill Nighy, Richard E. Grant. What was it like working with them?
Oh, fantastic. I couldn't stop. Like, Richard E. Grant, I mean, we'll get on to Bill Nighy because he's so fantastic in the film and amazing. Richard E. Grant is just got the most, to me, hilarious face. I mean, he just, in the film, he just has this dour kind of deadpan, and it just cracks me up. And he's very, very funny in real life. And then Bill is a joy. Really, he's such a gentleman. He's a real master of comedy, and there are scenes in the film that you're just in stitches, and then in the next second you're crying because it's tragic as well. And it's really hard to do that. There's not many actors in the world that can do that. So I just was in awe working with him. Yeah.
Do you ever get starstruck on set when you're working with like sort of acting legends for the first time? Does that still happen, or is it?
No, I've never really been someone that gets starstruck. And also, you kind of, you're so wrapped up in not getting it wrong, you know, and in my mind, I mean, I just, there are obviously times when you think, oh, I hope that Bill Nighy doesn't think that I'm a bad actor or something, but I don't know. I think, you know, most actors, when you meet them, are just regular people. And there was nobody like that in this film that gave that aura of. So yeah, but no, I don't really get I'm more starstruck with musicians, I think.
It sounds like you had a lot of fun on set.
We did. It was a joy. It really was. The cast and crew were just
everybody was at their best, you know, and I think that's something that Stephen Woolley and Amanda Posey, they get together groups of people who are really the creme de la creme, you know. We had a great crew, and also similarly the cast were just, you know, everybody played their part, was very free and easy, and really is a lot of that is down to the casting system. You know, we had 2 casting directors that cast this film really beautifully. And it's not just about how brilliant the actors are individually, but it's about how they all work together as an ensemble. And I think that's really down to the casting directors who are able to think about how that will work on set. It's a very particular thing that doesn't get recognised, really. But also it's Lona, you know, she creates a set that is very jovial and joyful, and where people feel free enough to be able to play, but also, you know, be serious enough to do the work. It's sort of why I love working in British cinema, because we take the work seriously, but not ourselves. So you don't get that kind of, there's no tension, really. It just feels lovely, you know.
Yeah. You're nothing if not versatile, aren't you? Because you've done a musical on the West End stage, you've done Shakespeare at the Globe, obviously big screen stuff. Is there one medium you prefer?
I wouldn't say... I mean, I always love doing plays because it's what I trained in and it's what I always envisioned myself doing. And it's where I feel the most free in terms of, like, being able to just do what I want to do, you know? And it's live, so I love that immediate feedback from the audience and feeling the audience. It's sort of a shared experience. But filming is very different. I can't really compare them, in fact, because to me, they're 2 totally different mediums. Recently, I did an NT Live, which is a live production, a live broadcast of a play I was in, which was like a real mixture of the 2 mediums at the same time, which was so bizarre for me because to me, they're completely different. When I do something like Their Finest, which was just so much fun. If every film could be like Their Finest, I'd be very, very happy. Yeah, so you can't really compare them.
We're going to go to audience questions shortly, but you've got some really interesting upcoming projects, haven't you? You've got The Escape with Dominic Cooper, I believe is a really good friend of yours. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So The Escape is a film that it's my first film as a producer, and it's an improvised film, and I made it, we shot it in my hometown of Gravesend in Kent and in Paris, and it's about a woman that is forced to leave her children for various reasons and sort of has a bit of a mental breakdown, really, and it's seen from her perspective. It's quite intense. And Dominic plays my husband, and he's brilliant in the film, really brilliant. So there's that, and then there's a couple of other projects that I'm also producing that I'm doing.
Is this part of your production company?
Yeah, some of them are. I've sort of got my production company, and then I keep kind of branching out and doing things aside from that as well. I just love collaborating with people, and along the way you always meet people that you kind of get on with and vibe with, and I think what I've realised is that I just want to work. You go, well, what shall we do together? And then you can do it, you know. Yeah, but it's all the same sort of vibe, you know, same sort of line.
And you're also going to be in Vita and Virginia with Eva Green, which sounds amazing. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, so Vita and Virginia is written by Eileen Atkins, who is an amazing actress, as we know, Dame Eileen Atkins. And she played Virginia Woolf a couple of times on stage. She's sort of an aficionado on Virginia Woolf. And Vita Sackville-West was a writer and a socialite and a gardener and many things, but also a lover of Virginia Woolf's on and off. But they were also great friends. And it's about their friendship and their love story, and about the formation of Orlando, which is arguably Virginia Woolf's masterpiece, which was inspired by Vita Sackville-West. So it's about that period of time, the writing of Orlando.
Great. Look forward to that. We're going to go to the audience for some questions. Who's got the first question for Gemma? Go for it.
I think it might be me. You've talked about your Welsh accent. Are there any accents that you would actively avoid?
Why? Why? Because they're so hard.
Yeah, because they're difficult. Yeah.
Oh,
not to
yeah.
be, offensive to anyone.
Right. Oh, I don't know. I think the trickiest one for me to do probably would be Northern Irish. I think it's quite difficult, that. But I love a challenge. Once you learn, dialect is all about sound and placement. So if you can learn the kind of the nitty-gritty technique, you can kind of do any accent. It's sort of like breaking it down. But I'm not one of these people that can just riff an accent, I need to work on it.
What's been the most difficult accent you've ever had to master?
I don't get given a lot of regional parts. The Welsh accent is very particular, and you want to get it right because you don't want to, offend any Welsh people. So that was actually, I think that one was, and that's in their finest, I do the Welsh accent. Probably that one. Liverpudlian as well. But we're so lucky in the UK to have so many accents. I love doing them. It's sort of like putting yourself on the line, though, when you do them. You're like waiting for criticism. But
Second question.
Hi, we got one from Facebook. Loved you in Quantum of Solace. Do you think there will ever be a female James Bond, and who would you pick?
I think it would be great if there was a female James Bond. Who would I pick? Someone that's got real swagger and class and that's got a twinkle in their eye. Maybe someone like Emily Blunt or something like that. But yeah, who knows if it'll ever happen.
Fingers crossed. And we've got a third and final question.
Hi, Gemma. Nice
Hello.
to meet you. If you could play one iconic role from any film, what would it be and why?
Oh, God, that's such a large question, and I want to get it right. And then, no pressure. Any iconic role? I've always wanted to play, I think I've never really been one of these people that go, I want to play this person one day. I've always sort of been quite like a go with the flow, And I'm the worst person at casting myself. But Queen Elizabeth's pretty cool, but that's been done to death, hasn't it? I don't know. Who do you think I should play? Oh, right. Oh, you mean like a film character? Oh, like a remake.
This needs to happen now, frankly. This is Leo. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, Gemma. Thank you so much for joining us today. Their Finest is out on the 21st of April. Please join me in giving it up for Gemma Arterton.
Thank you.